Hey, good morning, Foothill. It's Monday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And I just want to continue encouraging you from Romans chapter 8. We ended at verse 4, I think, last Friday, and it picks up in verse 5, and Paul says, "For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on things of the Spirit. For the mind that is set on the flesh is death, but the mind that is set on the Spirit is life and peace." Then he finishes and says, "For the mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to God, for it does not submit to God's law. Indeed, it cannot. Those who are in the flesh cannot please God." So what Paul's doing is setting up this massive foundation that if you're in Christ, you have the Spirit of God living in you. And if you have the Spirit of God, then there will be an impulse to be obedient to him. He says, I think verse 5 is the key. Those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on things of the Spirit. And when you set your mind on the things of the Spirit, Paul says, there will be life and peace. So there's this cooperation happens. Look, I want to live a life, especially in the midst of COVID-19. I want to live a life where I can say, man, my mind is set to a place that is life-giving and fills me with shalom, this peace of God that passes all understanding. And Paul says that there's this cooperation that happens. There was no cooperation in your salvation. God saved you, right? You put your faith in Jesus Christ. But when it comes to our sanctification, when it comes to us walking by the Spirit, right? We can grieve the Spirit. We can not walk in the Spirit. Paul says that we do that by setting our minds, right? What we fix our minds, fix our hope. We've been talking about this in 1 Peter, right? What are we using our minds to do? What are we filling our minds with? So on the one hand, he says there's this impulse that the Spirit gives you to set your mind. You will think about things of the Spirit if you're in Christ. But on the other hand, there's this sense in which, man, that has to be something that I discipline my mind to do. And when I do, there's life and peace. So I know that in the midst of this time, it's hard, it's rough, right? There's a lot of anxiety. What's going to happen? Now they're talking about reopening. What happens with reopening? Will there be another infection? All that kind of stuff. Set your minds on things of the Spirit. For the mind that is set on the Spirit is life and peace. I want to have that. I want that for you. I want that for us. That would be a people who live according to the Spirit, have our mind set on things of Spirit. I think what he means by that is the things of God, right? The places, the fruits of the Spirit, to think on things that are good and pleasant and helpful and trustworthy, all the things Paul talks about elsewhere. And so let me encourage you to do that today. Love you guys. Hope you have a great Monday. I look forward to this being a good week. And I just want to encourage you. Listen, man, make a decision now that Sundays are not an optional day for you to come to church. Sundays are a day you are really going to make sure you get if you're in a family, single, doesn't matter, that you join us and you spend time worshiping with us as though it were a Sunday. We need to stay in that discipline, man. So make sure you stay there. Make sure that's something that you make a routine of your life, a habit for you, for your family, and begin to own your own spiritual growth during this time, okay? Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later this week.